This video is to go over our functional brain model right here. Before we begin, I'm going to go over what these hot links are. First two are to show you the lobes. Second two, the functional regions. This is going to blow it up. You can move it back and forth by just clicking and dragging. And you could also use those buttons, and then you could get dizzy and press play. So here's the enlarged version of it. This is rostral. This is caudal. I know that because I can see my temporal lobe right there, and that is going towards the front. And there's my cerebellum down there. To get it to sit on its base, it's sitting in a little plastic tray. And I decided, since the cerebellum's going to be in a different video anyways, I will leave it be. So this is the rostral side. That's toward the nose. This is the caudal side. Now, our lobes are, the frontal lobe is right there. And the frontal lobe is going to end at this sulcus between the red and the blue. That's called the central sulcus. So this gyrus is called the precentral gyrus. That's the raised ridge. That is the postcentral gyrus. So this red color, precentral gyrus, blue, dark blue is the postcentral gyrus. Now, this is the parietal lobe back here. It starts at the central sulcus, and it goes, there's allegedly a sulcus dividing it from the occipital lobe. It's not really on this model. And the occipital lobe is the most rostral part of the brain. This right here is the temporal lobe. That is going to be divided from the parietal lobe and the frontal lobe by the lateral fissure right there. That's the lateral fissure. So this is the rostral part. I'm going to rotate it. So this whole area is the caudal part. We can actually see the cerebellum down there. There's a fissure that divides the cerebellum. And here we have taken half of this cerebrum away. Now, why I stopped here is I want to point out, see how this is gray in color? Okay, it's pink. That's the gray matter. We have white matter that is deep to it. So we have the occipital lobe going deep. This is white matter. It's tracks connecting this with something over here or something over here. So this is now the medial view. My tripod must have gone and hit by something, which is why that is jerky. Now, this is the medial view. This is still the temporal lobe. This is still the occipital lobe, still the parietal lobe. Central sulcus isn't that clear. I actually finally realized that on this model when I made this video. Then we have the frontal lobe right here. This is all frontal lobe. We have a lobe hiding right there. That is the insular lobe or insula. It is part of the cerebrum. It is not part of the diencephalon. And it's an island. It's hiding in here. So this is the insular lobe. So if you look on this side, see, you can sort of see it in the fissure right there. That's the insula hiding out. So we still have the pre-central gyrus and the post-central gyrus right there. We'll talk about what this red thing is. I'm pretty sure this is the corpus callosum. That's the main white matter tract from the right half to the left half. Yes, I did actually just do that to make sure I got left and right correct. So those are the lobes of the cerebrum. Now we're going to talk about the functional areas. I got this brain because it has the functional areas highlighted, not because you obviously see the pre and post-central gyrus. Let's start on the precentral gyrus. So central sulcus is right here. The central sulcus. This is the precentral gyrus. This is your primary somatic motor area. That means all your movements of your skeletal muscles originate from here. Different parts originate at different places. If they took your skull off and started to put electrodes here, they'd actually make your muscles move. So this causes movement. Now, you actually plan to move. Did you know that? And you need to practice and anticipate that. That's why I had to practice the piano 20 billion times. When I did salsa dancing, I had to practice the moves 20 billion times. This pink area is the premotor cortex. This is where you plan movement. So this is where you do the actions of the movement. The premotor cortex is where you plan it. These are both in the frontal lobe. This is Broca's area. It is only on the left side. It is not on the right side. That is a speech motor center. And then this is your frontal eye field. It controls eye movement, rolling your eyes at your significant other or your parents. So, temporal lobe is right here. And I was a little bit disappointed in how they did this, but we have the auditory cortex, which is taking in what you hear, and then you have an association area where it's the latest hit by Taylor Swift or Bruno Mars or Cardi B or whoever you guys are listening to this year. So this is our post-central gyrus. Central sulcus, post-central gyrus. This is going to give you your general senses of pain, touch, itch, deep touch, pressure. So that is where most of that goes. And then it goes to the association areas that are in light blue back here. Do you think that's supposed to be light red by any chance? Okay. Back here, this is your visual cortex. There are 3 shades of green right here. We're not going to distinguish between the 3 shades of green. This is your visual cortex. It deals with vision. The insula is my favorite lobe because it deals with taste. I love taste. It also is going to deal with some smell, some balance. It's a very busy lobe for being buried in everywhere. Then this is the cingulate cortex. I didn't teach it in lecture, but I thought I would point it out in case another teacher is sending their students here. So that's the cingulate cortex. We can actually see one of the ventricles hiding there. So this is our functional model of the brain. I will focus on what are the lobes. And the pictures in your lab book actually show you the nice, beautiful pons right there. I like ponses. It's a nice rostral bulge in the brainstem. We have the medulla oblongata below that. And so we have the medulla oblongata down there. This is the cerebellum. Notice that it doesn't have gyri, so these are gyri. These are called folia. They're more convoluted ridges. So that is our functional brain. And again, we have the lobes are the first 2, the functional regions are the latter 2. Thank you. Have a good day.